Fox News alert. Today marks the deadline that top House Republicans gave the Justice Department to turn over all documents requested by congressional investigators. House Speaker Paul Ryan slamming the DOJ yesterday for their failure to comply with the subpoena.
They could have spared the country a whole bunch of drama if they would have complied with these document requests months ago when they were made in the first place.
But a senior DOJ official tells Fox News, quote, last Friday, we agreed to provide specific documents by Friday or explain why we couldn't. That process is underway, including delivery of many of the requested documents yesterday and today. Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge is live in Washington with the latest. Catherine.
Well, thanks, Melissa. Fox News is told the Justice Department has produced more records this week, but right now it still falls short of the congressional subpoenas. In the meantime, we're learning more information about that key meeting last Friday involving the House Speaker, FBI Director, and Deputy Attorney General, as well as the 3 House committee chairmen. 2 sources tell Fox News that the FBI Director and Deputy Attorney General were given 3 days from that Friday by House Republicans to hand over records about intelligence activities and the FBI's alleged use of confidential sources prior to July 31st, 2016. And that's a key date because it's when the FBI officially opened the Russia collusion investigation. With that deadline missed and a looming deadline today for the remaining records under subpoena, the House Speaker, as you just heard him say, did not take contempt off the table. Here's House Speaker Ryan.
I am supportive of making sure we get the documents we rightly deserve, that we legitimately requested. We expect compliance. I'm still getting daily reports from our committee chairs about the progress on compliance.
Multiple sources described to Fox News that last Friday's meeting, it was rare, impactful, because new information came to light about intelligence activities, and this is the key thing, Melissa, appeared to shift the timeline earlier than July 31st, 2016. And they said Congressman Gowdy's outspoken statements on Fox News Sunday reflected that new information.
Paul made it very clear there's going to be action on the floor of the House this week if the FBI and DOJ do not comply with our subpoena request. So Rod Rosenstein, Chris Wray, you were in the meeting. You understood him just as clearly as I did. We're going to get compliance, or the House of Representatives is going to use its full arsenal of constitutional weapons to gain compliance.
I just want to draw your attention to a key line from that Justice Department official's statement. They said that if the records are not provided, they will explain to the congressional committees why they are refusing to comply with the congressional subpoenas. And based on our reporting today, we think that's going to take the form of a letter, maybe later today, Melissa.
The European Union slapping tariffs on American goods today in response to President Trump's steel and aluminum tariffs. The president tweeted just hours ago, and I quote, based on the tariffs and trade barriers long placed on the U.S. and its great companies and workers by the European Union, if these tariffs and barriers are not soon broken down and removed, we will be placing a 20% tariff on all of their cars coming into the U.S. Build them here! Exclamation point. Some fear a trade war might be actually brewing here, but, you know, the White House says these tariffs are necessary because of national security. My next guest agrees with that one. Here to explain, Fox News national security strategist Sebastian Gorka. Dr. Gorka, good to have you here on this Friday afternoon. Walk me through the national security implications of trade right now.
Well, where to begin? Do we have a few hours to talk about it?
For you, sir, I'll give you at least 4 minutes.
Okay, that's a luxury. First things first. First things first, you have to have a functioning economy for us to be a healthy nation. And what the president inherited was a functionally broken economic system globally. The people we were trading with exploited our goodwill, and the president wants to reset the geopolitical reality. The idea that you have U.S. imports, cars going into the European Union, are taxed at 4 times what we tax automotive imports into the United States. How is that fair? So first things first, there's just the reset, and I don't mean a cheesy plastic button like Hillary's reset button. I mean a real reset button. Okay. Then when it comes to national security, Well, where to begin? China. China is the #1 issue here. This is a nation that, through its trade practices, not just the theft of our secrets, but the forced acquisition of American intellectual property, undermines your national security, all Americans' national security, every second of every day. And the president is going to right that ship.
Can I ask you, why is it nobody else has been really concerned about this? I mean, when you think about trade and the implications for our economy and for our military and for our place in the world, shall we say, I just don't understand why it's taken until now to wake up to the issues.
One word, Trish: greed. The CEOs of American companies that are too short-sighted, that they only want to have the shareholders' report for the next quarter look stellar, think that, well, we have to access that market. That's the last great untapped market. China is going to have a burgeoning middle class growing every year, and we will do whatever it takes to access that market. So they will ignore, they will blindfold themselves to the long-term strategic ramifications for our security just to make an extra buck in the next year.
Yeah, no, I get it, for the quarter, for the year. That said, I guess, where has our government been, Dr. Gorka? Because you would think, you know, folks within the policy halls of the administrations and also, frankly, within our military would start saying, hey, we got a problem over here. China is not playing by the same set of rules. And if we don't deal with it now, we're going to have a real issue.
I'll tell you what happened. Since Kissinger on, there was this myth sold within D.C. and inside federal government, less so in the armed forces, but definitely within the policy world, that the more we open economically to China, the more it will democratize, the more it will become a liberal state, which is absolutely fallacious. We have Xi Jinping, who has just made himself operationally emperor for life of China. So that myth has to be deconstructed, that the more the economy in China grows, the more it will be a democratic state. That is not true.
You know, it's like well, let me ask you this. I mean, did Nixon in China, was that a mistake? I mean, should we never have wanted to open up China in the way that we have? I mean, the thinking was, well, you know, it's a great potential market for all our goods, yet we've learned they don't really want our goods. We want theirs because they're cheap, but they don't really want ours, and they make sure that ours are expensive via their tariffs. Was it the right thing to do?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Why? You don't give WTO membership. You don't give most favored nations status to a country that openly says in its strategic documents, we wish to displace America as the most powerful nation in the world. When they change their behavior with regards to us, when they don't wish to undermine and subvert us, maybe we can talk about it. But as long as their one belt, one road policy is aimed at undermining America, why would you treat them like any other country, Trish? Mm-hmm.
Maybe it gets back to your thesis, which is greed. I mean, I just say, I question where our government has been in all this, because at some point somebody's got to say to that CEO, we need to think more strategically about the health of our country. And if you don't care about your intellectual property, I as the president do, or I as, you know, anyone within the administration should have been thinking about this perhaps earlier on. Everybody recognizes that China is a problem, but no one has wanted to do anything about it, Dr. Gorka.
Look,
until maybe now.
That's changing. That's changing. Let's be optimists. We're Americans. As long as Peter Navarro is in the White House, as long as Lighthizer is there, as long as Matt Pottinger is the man for Asia in the National Security Council, as long as John Bolton is there, we have a presidency, we have a team that understands the threat. Now it's their job with people like us to help them to educate the private sector.
People like perhaps you, but I mean, look, I don't want a trade war. Here's what I want, Dr. Gorka.
There won't be a trade war.
Zero tariffs for everyone. Wouldn't that be fair?
Wouldn't that be a free market?
Free market capitalism. It's the best way. Dr. Gorka, good to see you. Thank you so much.